Hello everyone! Got another video for you guys, and will probably be the last one I post for a while with a move to Nebraska coming up, so yeah, there's that. But I have been a little busy making some sprites for some enemies. Here are two of them right here. Little red bird jet looking thing, and this green dude who looks like the Motobug from Sonic the Hedgehog. He basically is as far as interaction with the player and all that stuff is concerned. Minus an actual dash attack instead of walking around being a dumb little static enemy. Anyway, enough talking, let's go into it. So like I mentioned, kind of showing off the AI a little bit here. On the right hand side of the screen in the console, you should see a bunch of act, walk, probably some turnaround and stuff. That is actually the, probably gives away a little bit of what the AI, if you really call it that, is. It's basically a state machine, and currently it's showing what the Unibot is up to. So, and that bird is going to be annoying me. Get him out of the way real quick. Alright. So, as I'm sure you guys may have noticed, several of these lines here. So, pause it. So we've got these green lines, and these are kind of important to how the AI works. So this little short one here is basically it's kind of a line of sight of sorts. So whenever it runs to a wall, it tells the Unibot, hey, there's something there, turn around. Likewise with this diagonal line, it looks for holes in the ground. So notices there's no ground there, notices there's no ground there anymore, it turns around and moves on. This yellow line that you see is another line of sight, and it's specifically looking for the player character. If it does that, you may have noticed the bot jumps up and it does a kind of dash attack towards the player. Likewise, the Jetbird, there it is. The Jetbird has a similar kind of thing. It just has a line of sight. It doesn't care about looking for walls or anything. It flies through all terrain obstacles. So whenever the player crosses the line of sight, fires off those 3 energy pellets that you saw earlier, and he moves on. So let's see the Unibot in action again here. So there he is, just crawling around, doing his thing. And you'll notice him, once he gets close to this box, he's going to turn around. Once he does, I'm going to use line of sight, and pow. Bad things are happening to me, and I just evaporated. Now let's look at the code behind that. So here's my code file for the Unibot. This area right here near the top, this enum known as actions, that is where I've actually defined all the various actions I want the bot to do. So nothing, change in direction, gets excited, jumps, runs, walks. You'll notice a couple of constants down here. One is the action timer, and that action timer determines the amount of time between actions, and that's just kind of the normal set or a default value. Depending on certain actions I have it set up, it'll actually be shorter. Nothing's longer than that though. Search distance, that is just how far he's looking for the player, and this wall check distance is that tiny little line where he's looking out for walls. And for those of you who use Unity, this do actions, for all intents and purposes, think of it as your update function. If you're really wondering where all this comes from, right here, this 2D platform character controller, that's the tutorial I used that I based all of my character movement off of. So that's where do actions comes from, but for all intents and purposes, think of it as your update function. So after updating, velocities and such, what you're looking for here is the choose action. So the Unibot chooses an action, and then performs an action, and then it checks its surroundings, and then does the player search. So this is basically, these 4 functions are where the AI lies. So speaking of which, going to choose action. So it's very simple how it's set up. I have a bunch of Boolean values set up. You'll see a few of them here getting checks against them. So will attack player, player sided, obstacle, so on and so forth. Depending on what flags are set to yes, it will be like, in this case, if he's ready to attack the player, he'll run at him. If the player is sided, he gets excited, that's that little hop you saw, and if there's an obstacle, he changes direction. This action completed, walking around is just kind of default. If there's nothing going on, he'll just keep on going. Perform action is kind of the meat and potatoes, so after an action's been chosen, you're gonna go ahead and perform it. So, we're excited, wait about a half second. Well, the timer gets set to half a second, but he jumps. After that half second, he will move to his next action, which is the run. So again, the run sets that timer again. He's gonna dash towards the player and reset a couple of those Boolean values so he doesn't get stuck in a various state. So if you're ever gonna do a state machine type of thing like this, make sure you're setting your values properly. Otherwise, things won't happen. And I mean, that's just one of the things I found while I was debugging the whole thing and wondering, why is he constantly dashing and not stopping? So yeah, the bird over here is similar as far as his actions go. Very similar setup. Different in how it checks the different Boolean values that I have specific to the bird, but the general setup's the exact same. So I found it so far to be works well enough. I was for whatever reason in my head, I was like, oh, maybe I can try a neural net or something. I was like, that's way too complex. It's gonna take way too much time, and it's the whole one of those things where I'd be working on that and then I wouldn't be working on the game anymore. So, especially considering the type of enemies in a platformer like this, we don't need something like, you know, squad mechanics or anything crazy like that from like what you'd see in Half-Life or other shooters. Let me go ahead and move the bird down here. That way you guys can see these bad guys doing their stuff again. Just what you really want to see, I'm sure. Pew pew pew. Pow pow. Get out of the way so I don't evaporate. Also, you may have noticed this blue section near the bottom. Go ahead and maximize on play so all you're seeing is gameplay. This blue area, I have added water to the game now too, so definitely not related to AI by any means, but it is a little addition. It does, as you can see, affect the player as a drag, and if I stay down here too long, the player will definitely end up dying. But yeah, as far as stuff that's been going on, that's it for now, and I will see you guys later.